Rodgers, pinpoint accuracy.
Rodgers over the top, lofts the right side, heads over the shoulder catch to the ball. Touchdown! Rodgers in trouble. Being flushed, rolling left, winds up.
There's not 5 guys on the planet who play like him.
He's got it! He's caught for a touchdown!
Yes!
A miracle
Yes!
catch!
Can you believe it?
Open it up, Tim Van Born. You can go ahead.
How do you feel about the Packers roster? Right, there's a lot of projection right now in May of 2020. Packers roster now as opposed to January of 2020.
Yeah, I like where we're at. I like, obviously, what we accomplished last year was pretty amazing. The additions that we brought in, and then, having a first-year head coach with a new system, I like our progression throughout the season. Obviously, we had a lot of success, won a lot of close games. I like where we're at. I think, as always, we're going to be expecting, those young players, whether they're rookies or second or third-year guys, to make that jump, and we're going to be calling on them to play an even bigger role for us. We've, obviously had some changes with a few positions, but, I like what Brian has done, and, I obviously hope there's a season and hope we get a chance to get back together soon and start working on that chemistry and get excited about the season. Lance Allen, go ahead.
All right, Aaron, hopefully you're doing well and staying safe and healthy.
Likewise, mate.
Thank you. Just your general reaction. I mean, obviously, first time publicly stating, when the Packers drafted Jordan Love, what your thoughts were and handling the competition.
Well, I think I was watching the draft. I was watching the feed with A.J. Hawk and Pat McAfee and his boys. And I think, general reaction at first was surprise, I think, like many people. Obviously, I'm not going to say that I was, thrilled by the pick necessarily, but I understand the organization is thinking not only about the present, but about the future. And I respect that. I understand that their focus and their mindset, and obviously they thought that he was such a great talent that they needed to go up and get him. So, I was, like I said, generally surprised, but it's what those guys are paid to do, to put together a roster for now and for the future as well.
Okay, Dennis Crosby, go ahead.
Yeah, just to follow up, Aaron, for a moment on Jordan Love. How do you see your role, if any, in helping him develop?
Well, I would say the same. It's the same that I've done with all of my backup quarterbacks, and I feel great about those relationships that I've developed over the years. Many of them are still really close friends. I consider Matt Flynn a very close friend. I still have great contact with, a lot of guys I've played with over the years, from more recent to Deshaun and Manny to Tim and I are really close. Brett Hundley and I keep in touch all the time. Scotty Tolzien and I, talk from time to time. So I've had great relationships over the years with those guys, and expect to have the same type of relationship with Jordan. Again, he didn't get asked to be drafted by the Packers. There's nothing, he's not to blame at all. He's just coming in excited about his opportunity. We had a great conversation the day after the draft, and I'm excited to work with him. He seems like a really good kid with his good head on his shoulders, and similar story, not heavily recruited out of college, and kind of made his way at Utah State, and we've had some good conversations. Matt Schneidman, go ahead.
Aaron, hope you're doing well. I know we've all heard you say you wanted to finish your career as a Packer even beyond your current contract. Do you think this pick affects that in any way, and is that still your plan to do that?
Well, I think what it does is just reinforce kind of the adage that you can only control what you can control, and it's always been a mantra for myself. I think any great athlete, there's things that are just out of our control. That obviously is something that's very important to me, but I think is definitely telling at this point that is truly something that's out of my control. What I can control is how I play, and making that decision at some point a very hard one. If I were to retire on the organization's timetable, then it's an easy decision. But if there comes a time where I still feel like I can play at a high level and my body feels great, then there's other guys have gone on and played elsewhere.
Mark Daniels, go ahead.
Thanks, Tom, and Aaron. Thanks for sharing some time with us today. No Jimmy Graham, no Geronimo Allison. What do you have to get out of your perimeter group that is returning?
Well, I think there's some interesting things to look at. I think if you look at the development of a guy like Alan Lazard, what he did last year, and his versatility. He's a guy who's cut at the end of training camp and then quickly put back on the roster, I think week 1 maybe. And by the end of the season, he was called upon many, many times in important situations to make big plays, and he did. He's just a great teammate, an ascending player. Loved his approach every week, and he made some big-time plays for us. I'm excited about getting EQ back from injury and seeing how he feels. He really made some great strides his rookie year, especially towards the end of the season, making plays for us and just kind of growing each week. He's got a great approach to the game. It'll be fun to see him healthy. MVS is a guy who I have a ton of confidence in. I really feel like that if he can continue to grow, that he can really add to our football team, and I look for him to make big strides. And then Jake Kumaro, obviously, as well. Such a steady guy. I've been a big fan of his since the first time I threw a ball to him, I think, and just loved his approach to the game. Yeah, tight end position, I was really excited to see Big Dog come back, because I think it not only adds such a great presence to our run blocking scheme, but our locker room. He's just a consummate professional, a fantastic leader for our football team, and bringing him back was an important part, I think, to shoring up that room. Obviously, we saw with Jace at the end of the season, giving him some opportunities. We're going to be expecting things from him and Bobby Tonyan as well, and we drafted a young kid in the 3rd round as well. So I think I like the way that's looking. Obviously, this is a different off season, and not many of us, myself, I have, but not many of us have gone through an off season where you're not really together physically. We've managed it in 2011. I think with these Zoom meetings and the installs we've been doing, I think we're going to be ready to go whenever that time comes, but it'll be kind of an accelerated learning curve for especially those young guys who are expected to play.
Jason Wilde, go ahead.
Hi, Aaron. Going back to the quarterback being drafted, I know you've always had plenty of intrinsic motivation, but you're also the guy that remembered the Purdue coach's letter about good luck at your attempt at a college football career. You know all the teams that passed on you in the draft. You remember your Cal professor laughing at your plans to be an NFL player. I'm wondering what this selection and the scenario that it's created does to motivate you in terms of the competitor that you are, and how you use that as motivation in addition to your internal motivation.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question, Jason. I think I've never really needed a ton of external motivation. You always maybe look for one or two things at different times in your career that kind of fire you up. For me, and I've said this in my locker many times, the main motivation is to be able to have consistent play as you get on in years. And as Mike used to always say, the most important thing for a quarterback is your legs. And when the legs go, it's just tough to play, especially the way that I like to play. But I think the great thing for me from a physical standpoint is that last year I felt amazing, and I've kind of really figured out how to get my body in peak performance shape. And this off season has really allowed me to get a ton of work on my body and to do my workouts, maybe even starting a little earlier, than usual in early March. So I feel really good about where I'm at physically. And the goal is to play in my 40s. That hasn't changed. That's kind of what I've been talking about for the last few years. That remains the same. But I know the key to that is my physical body, and that's what I focus on. That's really my motivation is to give myself physically the opportunity to play as long as I want to play, and that's going to be my continued motivation.
Rob Domofsky, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, have you been able to throw at all? I don't know if you've been able to be around any of the guys. Normally at this time you'd be doing some throwing, I would imagine. What has the workout routine been like for you where you're at?
Yeah, there's a couple guys out here that I've been able to throw to a couple times a week, so I'm definitely keeping my arm in shape. You know, the first couple weeks of the off season, there's not really any throwing, but I wanted to make sure by the time that May hit that I was into my normal throwing routine. So I've been ramping that up and getting those opportunities to do that with some of the guys, professional guys who live out in the Los Angeles area.
Mike Spofford, go ahead.
Yeah, Aaron, just wondering what you sense generally as the biggest challenge for this team heading into 2020. Is it going to be handling the expectations that you guys got so close, being a team again with a target on your back, recreating what you had in the locker room when you don't have the off season that you had last year? Just some of your thoughts about those topics.
I think some of the beauty in the situations is that there are a lot of sentiments about us being not a great 13-3 team last year. So I don't know if we're going to, be a favorite or be the team that is expected to. Somebody needs to mute that. But be the team that's expected to dominate the NFC. I mean, I love our teams. I love our team. The key will be to find a way to recreate that chemistry and come together. But that gets figured out in when we get back together in training camp. But I like our squad. It's been fun to see the guys every week, with our daily Zoom meetings and our calls that we do. So we've been definitely keeping in touch. It's different not being, able to do some of the things that we do, with what I did with some of the guys taking down the Derby and the get-togethers that we have during the off season when we're all in Green Bay and the shorter days. But we'll have plenty of time when we get back to work on that chemistry. And, I like our chances. I like our squad. I like the leadership of the football team. And I also like that, there's probably not going to be sky-high expectations for us like last year. And at the same time, I really feel like we'll be in the mix.
Okay, Wes Hardcliffe.
Aaron, you kind of touched on it just now, but with the Zoom meetings and all the different things that this is kind of required, what has been your approach to that, and what have you kind of gotten out of this virtual off-season program to date with what you guys have done?
Yeah, it's different. I think we're really going slow through the process because we don't have, some of these IPWs and OTAs where you're putting in an install per day. The virtual stuff has been at a slower pace, but I think really helps everybody because there's a lot of emphasis on the details. And for a second-year offense now, for the coaches to be able to go back through during their off season and really take a deep dive into the film and the scheme and the playbook, I think has really been helpful. And Matt and I and Hackett and Getty have been meeting a lot about all those installs and really fine-tuning them and making sure they're all in order by the time they get to the squad. But it's been a good process. It's different. It's definitely different. But the coaches, especially Hackett and Steno, and actually Ben Sermons had a really good one this last week. But they've been really creative with their installs, using some humor and some videos to make those viewing sessions a little more interesting. I think we've all appreciated that.
Wayne Larrabee, go ahead.
Aaron, how you doing? I wanted to ask you about this virtual preparation that you guys are doing. Is it safe to say that we can't expect as much out of rookies today as we might have in a normal season where you've got all the OTAs and mini camps?
I don't know, Wayne. I mean, that was the sentiment, I think, back in 2011 after the lockout. Everybody was thinking the product was going to be a lot on the field and guys were going to have the same type of time to prepare. And I think the onus is there's a greater accountability on players to prepare, but on the coaches as well. I mean, there has to be a real streamlined approach to the most important parts of those installs, and the finer details are at a premium. So I think it's probably making the coaches better coaches, and at the same time, I think it's that great accountability where guys now have the opportunity. What are you doing during your off time? We all have a lot more off time now because we don't have the schedule constraints that we would in a normal life situation. So guys have more time to study, more time to work on themselves, more time to get out and or not get out, or just find ways to work out. I mean, I've seen guys like Jamal Williams posting a bunch of stuff. He's working his butt off, but I think that's the beauty of this time. It really separates the guys who are the self-motivated self-starters and the guys who maybe need a little bit more direction. And those guys who need more direction are going to be better in the setting where we're all together. And the other guys are going to be more ready to rock and roll once day one comes.
Aaron Nagler, go ahead.
Aaron, I was wondering, a couple of years ago, Brett Favre mentioned that you brought that film crew when you went to visit him in Mississippi. I was just wondering, whatever happened to that documentary you were making, is that going to see the light of day?
I don't really have any updates at this point on that. I can't say there was some really good stuff that we got to talk about during that time. That was big for our relationship, I know, and it's it's progressed really since the handshake on stage at the honors, where now him and I are very close, and we do talk very frequently. So it's been a lot of fun to have him back in my life. But it's unclear at this point what's going to happen with that.
Stephen Watson, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, hope all is well and that you're safe. I was curious, kind of given the state of our country and world at this point, do you believe it is safe to play football this season?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think like many of us, and I've seen a lot of comments on this, and obviously my story coming back from Peru before the country kind of went into a lockdown, I think we all, we're buying into the idea of quarantine to flatten the curve. I think there are a lot of questions now that it's more of a house arrest to find a cure, with people wondering what exactly that means as far as the future of the country and the freedoms that we're allowed to have at this point. I think sports has always been something that's brought people together. And as you see with, networks like ESPN, people are starving for anything, whether it's the Michael Jordan documentary or it's watching the Korean Baseball League on TV or the UFC coming back with no fans. I think people are definitely looking for something to kind of bring us together. I'm very hopeful that we can have a season. I think the important thing to think about, though, which is more important than that, is the state of the country and the fact that we have 36+ million people on unemployment right now. You have rising, obviously, poverty levels that go along with the unemployment. You have, suicide hotline is up 8,000%. I think there's a lot of problems around the country right now associated with the fear around this pandemic, and I hope that we can use some common sense moving forward and make decisions that are going to be in the best interest of all people moving forward. And I hope that sports is a part of that at some point.
Dave Schrader, go ahead.
Hi, Aaron. Hope all is well. When you look at your relationship with Brett Favre, he mentioned he had a conversation with you recently. He didn't go into the details of what you talked about. He did mention you were surprised by the draft. As you look at things turning from how they were over a decade ago now, how does it feel to be in this position? And do you also look at other historic case studies, Tom Brady, Jimmy Garoppolo, to kind of see what next few years might be like and how you could approach that all?
Yeah, good question. I think just based on the age in which, I was and Brett was when I was drafted, and comparatively to me and Jordan, there are similarities to that. I think there's a lot of things that aren't similar, though, when you look at the two situations as far as Brett's mindset during, the 03 and 04 seasons. And, obviously my statements about a strong desire, a real desire to play into my 40s and the way I feel about the game and my body and my love of the sport. But I do see some similarities, and I understand that why they're drawn. in that effect. I think I learned a lot over those years working with Brett. Things that I can bring to the relationship with Jordan, and just understanding the mindset. I went through it as a young 21, 22, 23-year-old playing with my idol as a teammate, and I'll definitely take those lessons with me. And like I said before, I've always had great relationships with my backups, and always loved helping those guys out. And in any way, the more questions they have, the more answers I have, and I've really, truly embraced those relationships, and it'll be the same with Jordan.
Olivia Reiner, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron. You mentioned at the end of last season that the offense didn't get to tap into everything that Matt LaFleur had envisioned for the offense, just generally speaking. From these early meetings, what are the expectations as far as what's still out there for the team offensively?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think there's just a lot of things that based on where we had in the season, the personnel, some of the injuries that we had, and just some of the stuff that we got in as we're blending kind of some of the things that Matt loves to do with a few of the things that I have done well over the years. This has been a great opportunity to kind of go back and really fine-tune everything, go through everything we did last year, what was good, what didn't work, what we want to add to it, what we want to take out. I think Matt and Nathaniel have done a really good job of going through those and keeping me in the loop about conversations. We've had a number of conversations about these installs, and I feel really good about where they're at. Expectations-wise, I think it's too early to make some prognostications about our squad because there's moving pieces. We have new guys to the mix. We have added Devin to the mix. It'll be fun to see where he's at physically and from his football IQ. We've had some really good conversations, him and I. It'll be fun to see, like I said, EQ come back and see what he can add to the offense. Seeing Jason year two. Obviously Aaron Jones had a fantastic year last year, bringing him back. We drafted a young running back in the second round, so there's a lot of moving pieces. And when you don't have that physical offseason, I think it's too early to make any type of expectations or predictions about who's going to be playing where, what type of roles, or exactly what we're going to do until we see the abilities of some of these guys that we brought in and see kind of the jumps that we have from guys in years 2 and 3.
Mike Clemens, go ahead.
The way the season came together, and by December, on all three phases, the health of the team, a decisive win over Seattle, and I think after the 49ers game, you explained that, I thought we had something special here. I think that was an accurate description. So on the plane ride home from Santa Clara, I wonder if you and your teammates are wondering, man, how much farther do we have to go, or how much more is it going to take? And have you visualized what it might be to have to play football in an empty stadium?
I think the prevailing sentiment on the ride home was obviously disappointment, but there was mixed in a real satisfaction about what we accomplished. I think maybe different in other years past, where you just felt really good about the guys that we had and the way we came together during the season. There was a lot of pride in the performance and the results, for sure. To your second question, I haven't let my mind go there at that point. I know there's been a lot of conversation about it. It would be definitely a weird situation to not have any fans in the stands, and I hope that's not the reality.
Steve McGargy, go ahead.
Just wondering, without having workout, the off-season workouts on the field, how do you kind of go about developing that relationship with some of these younger receivers? And with some of the states pulling back on the restrictions, has there been any process out there to get together with some of the receivers for an informal selling session somewhere along the line?
I think that's a good question. I think that's something that we can talk about. I think the biggest hindrance at this point is that there's 50 states, and there's not a team in every state, but different states have different restrictions at this point, and there's obviously some travel issues and other issues that you just have to deal with when trying to get people together. But if this thing, if the restrictions continue, but there's hope that we can get together, I think it would behoove all of us to figure out a way to get together to get some of those sessions in. And I've had conversations with guys about that. but it's kind of a waiting game because I know Wisconsin, maybe there's going to be probably some announcements in the next week or so, and the league obviously is going to have to make a statement at some point, maybe at the beginning of June, about whether or not they're going to allow voluntary workouts in facilities or not. But I think that's a conversation for a few weeks in the future for sure.
Matt Reynoldsson, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, Matt Reynoldsson with WFRB in Green Bay. The front office coaching staff said after the draft they didn't think any receivers in the later rounds could beat out any of the guys in the current roster. How much motivation do you think about a confidence like that is receivers, man?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think a lot. I do. For them to not pick a guy early on, to me, says they really like our guys and have faith in them. And I mentioned a lot of those guys earlier, and I think it all starts with Devontae and his abilities. He's just such a dynamic player. When you have a dynamic guy like that, he opens up the field for the rest of the guys. Where that's where you saw guys like Alan Lazard, making big strides. You saw Jake make plays. You saw at MVS have games where he was a big factor for us. Like I said, I'm excited about seeing EQ back in the mix. And then Adam Devin, who's a veteran guy who's made plays in the league for a number of years and is hungry coming in. I feel really good about that group, and obviously the front office did as well.
Jim Ozarski, go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, you mentioned with some of the changes or what maybe could come with the offense, but I guess more minutely, has the verbiage been changed? I know you and Matt talked about that at some point last year, just how long all of that was. Have you seen any of that yet? And kind of what's the progress with all of you guys working together in terms of making that more streamlined?
Yeah, good question. I think I don't foresee a future where I won't need to wear a wristband. Obviously that's something that you'd love to take off at some point, but it really does help. I think it helps both sides. It helps Matt, and it helps myself, where just being able to read, him tell me a number and me read off a card is easier than, 12 words from him to me and then 12 words at least once, if not twice, from me to the guys in the huddle. I think allows us to get out of the huddle a little bit quicker and get to the line of scrimmage, because this offense is a lot about check to the line of scrimmage. Run the run, pass the run the pass, and I think whatever can help us streamline that tempo is what works best for us. There hasn't been a ton of shortening of the verbiage. I think there's been some changes that are good, that make things a little clearer as far as certain plays falling better into certain concepts or families of plays. That's going to help. But this offense is a very wordy offense, and I don't feel like that's going to change anytime soon.
Brian Wing, go ahead.
Aaron, you mentioned the lockout coming off of that in 2011. How was it different right away when you got back into football, and how do you think you kind of used that, what you learned from that into this offseason, this season?
Well, I think anybody who went through it says the same thing. We never felt better from a physical standpoint. That was a great off season of training, and being able to be in our home cities, I think, was really beneficial during that year, to come back and just feel physically in phenomenal shape. Now, it does also throw a highlight really on those who were doing the right thing during the off season and those who maybe need more of a structure. So that's kind of the thing that'll be most glaring when and if we come back together. For us in 2011, because we've been in the system now for so many years, it wasn't as big of a difficulty jumping right back into the installs. That's why this has been better from the standpoint of we're a second-year offense and we've been able to have Zoom meetings. So I don't feel like we'll be so far behind mentally. It's just a matter of physically, are all the guys taking care of themselves the right way? And it seems like from the videos that I've seen and from the conversations that we've had during the weeks, that the guys are making the most of the opportunities, whether they're working out of their house or finding a place to work out that's okayed. I think that's been a positive.
Okay, Jason Wilde.
Aaron, you've been talking about workouts. I'm curious, just how have you gone about the logistics of your workout? Mason Crosby's been kicking balls at Oneida and I think hitting balls as well. Are you working out at home? Is there a facility? And can you give us a little glimpse too into what these Zoom meetings are like? I heard that Bakhtiari did one from his bathtub with you guys. Just, can you kind of give us a glimpse into your off-season, both virtually and in terms of your workout?
Yeah, I think the biggest change has been, like a kid throwing a football at the park. You have to find different places to get some of these workouts in. So, there's been places like that to get our running in, our agility in with our group, and then finding places to throw the ball. It's obviously, we've got a couple good places now to throw it, but it's just been different, I think, for everybody. Luckily, I've got a lot of workout gear at the house, so I've been able to work out at my house for a while. But as far as the Zoom meetings go, like I said, the most fun has been to see the coaches' personalities come out in some of these installs, because Matt has given different coaches different responsibilities. And some of them are, kind of straight down the line. And then you got a guy like Adam Sinovich who brings some really, really funny slides and videos and humor to his presentations. Nate Hackett is the wild man. He's so much fun, and I think everybody, it's got to be, I laugh with him about a young rookie watching these meetings, watching Nate and his personality, wondering who the hell this guy is. But we're having a lot of fun with it. And then there's breakout meetings as well with your position groups that we've been doing as well. And then Matt and Nate and I have been meeting regularly also.
We got time for two more here, so Aaron Nagler, go ahead.
Aaron, a little bit earlier you mentioned The Last Dance on ESPN. I did wonder if you've been watching it, and if Michael Jordan's comments on leadership and the championship mindset, if they resonated with you at all.
Yeah, for sure. I have been watching. It's been a lot of fun. I was fortunate enough in 1998 to sit in the top row at Arco Arena and watch MJ's last game as a Bull in the regular season against the Sacramento Kings, and was always an MJ fan since the early 90s, and loved the runs that he was on, and always looked up to him, and was fortunate enough for a few years to play in the final group at Tahoe with him, which was an honor and just so much fun. I really enjoyed that, and actually he invited me to his golf event in Vegas a few times, and we played in the same group for 3 days as well. So I've gotten to know him a little bit over the years, and always enjoy our interactions and have a ton of respect for what he accomplished in the game. He's the greatest basketball player of all time. I don't think that really I'd love to debate anybody on that. But I do, and knowing a few over the years, getting to know Steve Kerr a little bit and Jed Bushler a little bit over the years, and Scottie Pippen this last year at my golf tournament, knowing those personalities and then watching MJ relate to them has been really interesting to see kind of his own leadership style. Obviously, he's one of the most driven athletes of all time, and he's impacted so many guys over the years, incredible players like Kobe Bryant, obviously that was a big part in it. But, even guys like myself, and just seeing his approach to the game, his leadership style, how he demands the most out of himself and his teammates. And, I definitely resonate with a lot of the things that he says. I'm not quite sure, though, who the Dennis Rodman of our team is, but I really did enjoy that part of the doc as well.
That's got to be Bakhtiari, right? Come on.
I think so. I think so.
Last question, Rob Domofsky. Go ahead.
Hey, Aaron, just wanted to circle back to something you said earlier, just about, you said you were not necessarily thrilled with the pick. I'm just curious, is that because it was quarterback that might one day replace you, or just that you wanted a weapon, to help put you guys over the edge?
I think it's more, it was more the surprise of the pick based on my own feelings of wanting to play into my 40s, and then really the realization that it does change the controllables a little bit because as much as I feel confident in my abilities and what I can accomplish and what we can accomplish, there are some new factors that are out of my control, and so my sincere desire to start and finish with the same organization, just as it has with many other players over the years, may not be a reality at this point. And as much as I understand the organization's future outlook and wanting to make sure they're thinking about the team now and down the line, and I respect that, at the same time, I still believe in myself and have a strong desire to play into my 40s, and I'm just not sure how that all works together at this point.
Matt, how you doing? I was just wondering, we just talked to Aaron for the first time since the draft, and he mentioned, he used the word not thrilled with the Jordan Love pick, but he understands it. Do you think his response to that is something that can motivate him to, play better, prove he still has it, and how have your guys interacted with him in meetings and such since the draft?
Yeah, I totally understand where he's coming from, but I think he's very motivated, and he doesn't need external motivation. He's one of the most competitive people I've ever been around, and you can see that competitiveness every time we step out on that field. So I don't think it's going to drive him any more than if we could have drafted somebody else. I just think that's who he is. That's how he's wired. That's why he's achieved the things that he's done throughout his career. And as far as the meetings and whatnot that we've had going on, they've been outstanding, and he's been such a pro. And just to me, every time we get together, he just continues to prove why he's the leader of our team.
What's been the most fun part, and maybe fun's not the right word, but the most fun part of doing the off-season program this way, and what have you enjoyed about, maybe getting creative and done that way?
Well, I'll tell you, Rob, it's, we're doing a lot of videos and voiceovers, and we've gotten really good from a technical standpoint. And the support staff that we have has been absolutely incredible. Mike Hallbach, and we outsourced some stuff through a guy that Nate Hackett had a prior relationship with, and our coaches have done an unbelievable job of being creative, because the majority of our installs and whatnot have been more of those voiceover type installs, and you want to keep the guys entertained, and so our coaches have done a really good job of being creative, and I think it's been going really well. And I'll tell you one thing, that you spend a lot of time, you make these videos, and they take a lot longer than you would normally just prepare to go out, go down and present in front of the team. But it's given us a great opportunity as coaches to watch yourself, and we're always constantly evaluating our players, but you do a lot of self-evaluation now in terms of how effectively do you communicate. So I think it's been a great tool for our coaches.
So I'm curious, what are your expectations for Aaron and Jordan as far as the whole mentorship thing goes?
Yeah, honestly, I think there's a lot that kind of gets overblown there. I think it's more or less, Jordan's going to have the ability to learn from one of the greatest to ever play the game, and he's just going to sit back, and you learn so much by watching a guy play at such a high level. And so, I don't think it's going to be, anything different than any other backup quarterback, how the approach they take from learning from the starter.
Hey, Matt, thanks for sharing some time with us today. Can you give us any idea of how noticeable the evolution of your offense will be from year one to year two? Are there things that we in the media or fans are going to notice that is going to be anything different or more stressed?
You know, I just think it's more or less the details of what we're trying to get taught. You know, what this off season is slow everything down. And to be honest with you, when I was looking at our installs from when we first got here and before we ever had a practice with any of our players, it's drastically different. It is drastically different. I think when you go through a season with your guys, you kind of find out who's good at doing what, and you find out what you really are good at doing. And it's our job as coaches to make sure that we're putting our guys in a position to be successful and really showcase what it is that they do well.
Hey, Matt, I know obviously how excited you are about Josiah and what you have in that tight end room, but how important do you think it was in getting Mercedes back and having kind of a veteran presence there with those young guys?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll tell you, Mercedes is one of the best pros, and he is a great leader on this football team. He does such a good job of setting the example. He is a pro's pro, and I still think he is playing at an extremely high level. I think he's one of the best blocking tight ends in the National Football League. And then, when given the opportunities in the pass game, he produced for us. I know we didn't target him a bunch, but he made some critical plays throughout the course of the season. There was a touchdown versus the Giants. There was a big pass that we had, versus Detroit when we were at home. A big explosive play. There were a couple screens we threw to him, and he consistently performed. And so you can never have enough guys like Mercedes Lewis on your football team.
Yeah, Matt, I just was wondering if you could give us an assessment of just how Jerry Gray and Jason Grable are settling into, their spots as the head of those position groups at this stage of the off season.
Yeah, so I've had the ability to really sit in a lot of our guys' meetings, and I've been super impressed with Jerry. I'm really both those guys, but I'll start with Jerry first. Obviously he was a hell of a player, former first-round pick, multiple Pro Bowls, and then when you combine his coaching experience with that, I think he's just a tremendous resource for our defensive staff. He's been in a lot of different systems. He's been a coordinator, so he sees it through that coordinator eyes and understands how all 11 work together. And I think he's done such a good job of connecting with our players in a short period of time that they've had a chance to sit down and talk. And I think, I'm really excited about just what he brings not only to that room, but our entire football team. And then, Jason Grable, I think he's done an outstanding job. Like I said, I've sat in a lot of meetings. He's so well prepared. This guy watches as much tape as probably as anybody I've ever been around. And he always has just examples for the guys to help teach and show these guys what it is we're trying to get accomplished.
Yeah, Coach, the inside linebacker defensive line aspect of your defense, a lot of people say that was where the problem was in the running game. Tell me about where you expect upgrades on that defensive front three, and how about inside linebacker? Give us your opinion on where you are right now at that aspect.
Yeah, no, I think that, to me, some of the problems occurred, just with our run game in terms of just getting out of the gap. And so I think our guys are working hard at understanding where they fit within each play, each concept. And we know it takes all 11, so it's not just on the defensive line, it's not just on the linebackers, but our guys have got to do a great job of just being sound, doing their responsibility. And then, with the linebacker position, really, really fortunate to get a guy, especially, considering the circumstances of this offseason, get a guy that's been in the system in Christian Kirksey. I've been super impressed with him. You can tell he's a pro. He knows what's going on already, and we've only been meeting for a couple of weeks, so it'll be fun to get him and get all these guys back in the building and just work on the camaraderie, because I think you just look at some of the success that we had this past season. I think a lot of it had to do with how connected our team was, and so that's the one thing that why we're confident that we want to get back together. We can continue to build upon that.
Matt, I was just wondering, coming off of Aaron mentioning the verbiage in the offense, things really haven't changed in that regard. Just wondering how the current situation presents challenges if you're trying to expand on or install a hurry-up offense, which is something you had spoken about.
Yeah, for the most part, I would say the majority of our terminology has been pretty much the same. There are some tweaks that we've made here and there. I think it's just more about our process, how we want to go about installing a no huddle offense, the tempos, and we'll probably simplify that quite a bit. But it's just, I'll be honest with you, man, it's been great having these Zoom meetings. Especially, it's allowed myself, Hackett, Jesse, and Aaron to have a lot of one-on-ones as well, which, we definitely value his input into what we're doing, because, like I've always told you guys, definitely want him to feel comfortable with whatever it is we're asking him to do.
Hi, Matt. How much advanced contingency planning can you do as the end of the month nears and June starts to roll around and you're hoping to get your players back on the field, but you're not exactly sure what that is going to look like? How much planning can you do about what that next phase of the offseason might look like?
Yeah. Holy cow, man, we're having some issues. That's one of those deals that I just think we're constantly communicating as a staff in terms of how to approach whatever phase is next. But my mindset is just kind of, and I should say our mindset has been more or less we're going to keep operating in this virtual space until told otherwise. And, yeah, will we have a plan? If things change, absolutely. But it's going to be more or less those plans will kind of come together once we get clear direction.
Hey, Matt, thanks so much for taking the time today. I'm just curious if you've had any chance to kind of reflect back on your first year as head coach of the NFL, and if so, maybe what's the biggest thing that you've learned in that first year? And then kind of as a follow-up, from your time stepping in the door and meeting with the team from the first point until now, is there a player that's really stood out to you who's maybe made the most improvement?
I think you're constantly learning, every day in this job. And we're always just trying to, there's been a lot of reflection in how we can handle things, better to the best of our ability. In those conversations, we constantly have after action reports where we get together as a staff and talk about what we like about certain things and, what we learned from whatever phase we're in or whatever it is we're doing, and then the adjustments that we want to make moving forward. And can you repeat that second part of your question?
Yeah, just from the moment that you kind of stepped in the door and met with the team from the first point until now, is there a player that's really shown the most improvement to you over that time frame?
I can't say anybody in particular stands out. I think the majority of our guys have shown a lot of improvement. So, and that's going to be the key. That's going to be a key moving forward for us to get that. The next step is these guys are going to have to continue to put their best foot forward, because we do know this, that at some point in time this will all end and we will be back together, and we just got to make sure that everybody understands the importance of maximizing the time that they have right now and that when we are ready to go, that we can hit the ground running.
Hey, Matt. Thanks for your patience this afternoon on with all of us, by the way. What's the best thing Jordan Love can do between now and when you see him physically, when you guys get to work it out that way?
Yeah, I just think it's more or less making sure he's got the mental side of our offense down to the best of his ability. And, I think that's always a challenge for whether you're playing quarterback or whatever position you're playing, is a lot of guys, they learn through those reps, whether they're good or bad. And so it's just making sure he gets the most out of those meetings, and then he's got to go work at it on his own.
And Matt, how did you approach, I guess, the first meeting, if you will? Were you able to do a team meeting with all the windows up, or how did you try to communicate your first messaging of resetting 2020 with the guys in this way, or do you think you just have to kind of wait to a degree?
No, we did. We jumped on a Zoom call. It surprisingly, I didn't really know what to expect, especially when you get all the players on there plus the coaches and support staff. I mean, we were close to 100 people on there almost. I don't know what the exact numbers were, but you never quite know what to expect. But I thought it went well. It wasn't too long. I think it was like 10 or 12 minutes, and just really tried to highlight what exactly the expectations were and the objectives of this virtual offseason. And then we followed up those team meetings with pre-recorded team meetings that we pushed to their iPads.
Hi, Matt. Thanks for being patient with all this today. When you look at entering your second year as a head coach, are you, A, really happy that you're not a first-year head coach during the pandemic? And then, B, I know Mike Tomlin of the Steelers had mentioned he doesn't think any facilities league-wide should open up until they all can. Do you think there's going to be a point with this pandemic where we have to open up some and the others are going to have to find a different city to play in or practice in if their cities or municipalities are not yet ready?
Yeah, Dave, I really don't know the answer to that question in terms of I do think there's a competitive advantage if some teams are allowed to go in and others aren't. So I would think that, who knows how they're going to rule or what people are going to have to do, but that's just kind of my mindset with it.
How about the luxury of not being in your first year? I know some.
Oh yeah, no, I think that's critical. Just having the guys understand what we're all about, and we've got the majority of our team returning, and so they understand the expectations. Kind of what it takes, what they can expect from myself, from our other coaches, what they should expect from each other. They know how we practice. I mean, there's just so many advantages to having that first year under our belt. And now we understand that also going into year two, that especially with how we performed in year one, for the most part, there's going to be some heavy expectations. And we've all got to be ready to embrace those and make sure, again, that we're doing everything in our power to get better each and every day so we can, live up to those.
I was just wondering, without the rookie minicamp that y'all had in previous years, how difficult is it going to be for undrafted free agents this year to make the team, and how much of a lost opportunity is it for teams to kind of get a look at those guys?
Yeah, I think that's it. It's just you're going to have a much less exposure to these guys in your system. So do I think it's going to be tougher? Yeah, I do think it'll be an adjustment. These guys are going to have to come in again and learn as much as they can throughout the virtual off season, be in the best shape they possibly can, that when they do get their opportunities, that they maximize those. But yeah, this is so similar to the year of the lockout in regards to 4 guys in that situation.
Hi, Matt. So
have you had long discussions with Brian or Mark about what's the minimum amount of practices you need to get the team ready for a game against the Cardinals or any other scenarios? And I'd imagine the toughest thing this spring is making sure, your athletes are hitting their targets physically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I will say this. Our guys have done a great job of being in communication with Gizzy and our strength staff. Now, the one, like a lot of these teams out there, we're not monitoring the the physical workouts, all the things that our guys are getting credit for right now is the classroom stuff. So all our meetings, being in there, being on time, attending those, that's what they're getting credit for. So there is an onus on the player in terms of being a professional, and you got to put the work in. And but I've been really, really pleased with the communication that's been going on, that's been taking place with Giz and the other strength coaches. And I just think, as far as getting your team ready to play, I think a lot of it is we're going to have a good method to evaluate these guys when they do come back, because the last thing you want to do as a coach or anybody else is push these guys too hard, too fast, because that's typically when the injuries occur. So we've got to be really mindful of how we're going to approach that and be ready to adjust to whatever shape our guys come back into.
Matt, I was just curious. We haven't heard much. Maybe that's just because we haven't asked you. But what are your early impressions of Reggie Begelton, both what you have in a player and what you've been able to glean from him by your discussions with him virtually?
Well, the one thing that really stands out is you can tell he is super invested. He's done a great job at picking up everything that we've thrown at him. He does a great job. We've been quizzing these guys quite a bit, and he is, routinely at the top. So I've been just super impressed with his approach, and just excited to see him and see what he's got to offer on the field.
Hey, Matt. So the preseason is coming up quickly, so I was curious, are you planning on having fans in the stands for those games?
You know what? I have not really put a whole lot of thought into it, to be honest with you. Do I think it would be odd without fans? I do, but, that might be the circumstances that we're faced, and whatever it is, we'll embrace it. I'm hoping they're there, but if they're not, then we'll just embrace it.
Hey, Matt. The league has a number of minority coaching fellowships on a shorter-term basis, not a year-long position. Why did you decide to create a year-long position, and why are you bringing in Ravel to be the first person to fill that position?
Yeah, so, Mark came to me with this a while ago and asked me if that's something we'd be interested in doing. I said, heck yeah. And I'm sure many of you know I go way back with Ravel. Matter of fact, he and I were roommates my last year playing in Saginaw Valley. He was my roommate for all 3 years that we were together on the road. So I've had a long relationship with him. I've always thought a lot about him, not only as a player, but as a person, first and foremost. And he's been pretty successful outside of the football world, and I just think he's got such a dynamic personality. I think he's an unbelievable communicator, and he played 7 years in the National Football League. So I just thought that he's been a guy that I've been trying to get into the coaching business for a while, and he finally thought the timing was right for him and his family. So I'm just really excited to get him back up to Green Bay. I know they're going to be moving up here in about a month. They've already got a house, and they're ecstatic.
Yeah, another coaching step on Matt. What's Luke's new role as passing game coordinator in terms of the construct of what you and the people do? And then with that, how does it affect quarterback coaching roles? If you could kind of break down that promotion and those roles.
Yeah, no, it's just something that you do that when people put in the time, the effort, the energy, and you want to reward good work. And as far as like how we interact, I don't think it's going to have a big impact. But Luke, he designed most our third down packages, and I think he's got a really good grasp of what we're trying to get accomplished. So I just thought it was the right time for that natural progression.
Third down and 3. Jackson has all day. Looking deep for Hollywood Brown again. He's got it. Brown off to the races. And he stays on his feet. Touchdown.
And how about another? And a little sidearm sling. Really a smart throw. Perfect delivery.
Jackson back. Floats one towards the middle. Is caught for the touchdown. Mark Andrews. Jackson hooks a pass. Handled. Touchdown. Big time throw from Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson has 13 completions. 4 of them have been touchdown passes to 4 different receivers. He makes the most of his chances when he puts it in the air.
Control. And now Jackson and the Ravens. He flips it to the end zone. And it's pulled down. And what a play by Jackson. Off balance. Able to unload it with players all around him. You can't do that, but he can. And another touchdown by Stafford, and again it is shuffling.
This ball can only be thrown in one place. Putting the ball in only the place that his guy can get it. Tell you what, that's an elite throw.
Third and 8, Stafford time, takes a shot for Calvin Johnson downfield. Megatron got it. Calvin Johnson all the way home. Stafford on 3rd and 10, fires, end zone. And he's rolled a touchdown. Flags are down, 2 of them. And this pass is caught in stride by Calvin Johnson. Big fake by Stafford, buys time looking there. Stafford. He can throw the ball. Matt Stafford has one heck of an arm. Stafford. End zone. Touchdown. Matthew Stafford's second 5-touchdown game to 5 different receivers. Deep, open, caught. Touchdown. Now has 90 yards in this first quarter. Down the field, Rodgers, and it is caught for a touchdown. Blitz picked up, Rodgers throwing end zone, and he's got it, touchdown. Once again, a perfect throw by Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers got away from Bierman, throws on the run, touchdown, Nelson. Rodgers has to step up, and he is injured. Touchdown, 6 seconds remaining. Here it is. Showing pressure. They pick it up, the pass, touchdown! Andrew Carl, the tight end! And that's why Aaron Rodgers is such an outstanding player. The big moments, he drives. Great protection. Looking down the field in the end zone, and it is a touchdown! Snap of the ball at 37. Mohamed Sanu, the touchdown! Down and 1. The fake, and going deep, and he's got Julio Jones, and he makes the catch! 3rd and 17, Ryan going deep, and the receiver Jones is there to make the play! Here's Matt Ryan with loads of time, and all alone is Taylor Gabriel for the touchdown. And it is a touchdown.
When you throw a guy open, away from the corner, who's lined up on the inside, you put it on the outside shoulder, that's strike. And you know what that is, Charles? That's a confident throw and a guy playing that I cannot be stopped in Matt Ryan.
Breeze on 3rd down, to the end zone, diving catch, touchdown!
and a perfectly thrown ball by Drew Brees.
Four-man rush. Brees looking for Stills in the end zone. And Kenny Stills with a touchdown.
They split out. Everybody out. Brees going long. Robert Beach, a touchdown.
We haven't talked about Jimmy Graham yet. Graham! Held on! Touchdown Saints! Brees throws out of the backfield. Caught it for the touchdown!
And you better be right when you try to make a play on the ball.
On second and goal, Brees to the end zone. And Drew Brees on that pass has just eclipsed 5,000 passing yards.
It's me versus you, and Drew Brees says, I'm going to see if my guy is good enough to make a play.
4th down and 8. Brady slings it. Touchdown. There he is.
Second and goal at the 4. Brady, branch, touchdown.
Down the field to Welker, and he catches it in stride and takes off. Great pass to the end zone, and it is a touchdown.
Brady escapes one, throwing, got his man. Deion Branch. Brady running out of time, shakes one tackler, and now throws to Welker to the 5, touchdown.
And he's got to give his receiver a chance.
Where's Brady out of the gun from the half-yard line? Why not? To Wes Welker. Wes Welker pulling away, and he ties an NFL record with a 99-yard touchdown. First third down of the game. End zone. Austin. Touchdown.
Thomas is the back. The fake to him. Brees has time. Brees going deep. He throws, caught, touchdown.
Jay now gets his first. Brees going to air it out. Devery Henderson. Devery Henderson. Touchdown, New Orleans. What a job by Drew Brees.
His movement, his body control is so good.
Off the fake to Sproles. Brees firing downfield for Meacham. Here Thomas looking for another shot. Crossing the field is Graham. Split backs, needing 7 yards. Brees throws end zone. Touchdown, and there's the record.
That's unbelievable.
Drew Brees in rare air. The all-time single-season NFL passing record.
Swagger, the confidence from rookie year to the next. All kinds of room for Rodgers to throw. And it's going for a touchdown.
Play fake to Grant, and it's caught by Jones. And away goes Jones.
4 flags. Play continues, and touchdown.
He just fires it in there. Just finding seams against zone defenses and let the quarterback's talent make the play.
Starting at the 35. Rodgers puts it up and has Jones. James Jones room to run. Inside the 5 and in for the touchdown.
Boot out here to the strong side. Some people looked at that's just a lucky throw. Lucky bull.
And Spencer Ware in the backfield. Pressure now on Mahomes. He's in trouble. Now gets it away. Are you kidding me?
Play action. Mahomes steps up, going deep. Downfield, wide open again is Hill. Inside the 30. Hill down the sideline. Hill all the way. Unreal. Mahomes has the time, delivers perfectly downfield. Anthony Sherman
Gives a good look. He's absolutely covered. Any other throws intercepted, he puts it right on the money.
A laser beam. Patrick Mahomes is a magician.
Watch the arm angle, almost underhand here. Back across his body. I don't know what sort of flexibility drills he does or was born with or whatever the case.
4th and 9. They're chasing after him. Mahomes in trouble, flings it across his body. And it's caught.
He came back for it. An amazing play by the Chiefs.
And for Manning, 7 touchdown passes. He's the 6th man in NFL history to throw 7 in a game.
Here's 1st and 10 to start the second quarter. And Manning going for a Decker at the 5 and a touchdown.
Perfect throw by Peyton Manning.
Pass, Welter.
3rd down and 6, and Manning throws a floater into the end zone at the end of that play. 3rd down and 5. Manning over the middle, and it's caught.
On 1st down, Peyton. He's got another touchdown pass.
Working out of the gun. Manning fires. Oh, it's caught by Decker. Number 50. Manning lets it fly. It's caught by Thomas. There's the record for Peyton Manning. 51 touchdowns. The new single season mark.
Hey everybody, it's Larry, Wes, and Mike with another virtual edition of Three Things. Wes, you are up.
Well, Larry, we are firmly in the NFL offseason now, and most of the questions have been answered on the Packers roster. One lingering one, though, is how they're going to proceed at nickel cornerback. Going into the NFL draft, Brian Gutekunst said they'll revisit whether or not to re-sign Tramon Williams or some other veterans down the road. There's going to be time to assess that. They also talked very glowingly, though, about some internal candidates already on the roster, namely Chandon Sullivan, the undrafted free agent who signed last May by the Packers, ended up making the 53-man roster, then carved out a spot for himself in the dime defense. A lot of nice measurables coming out of Georgia State, but just didn't have much buzz. And now here he is, going into an uncertain offseason, but certainly one that could be filled with a lot of opportunity for that very young cornerback.
Thank you, Wes. And Mike, what is your thing?
Well, I know I spoke a lot in the lead up to the draft about what the Packers' opponents in the NFC North were going to do, and the big story along those lines is the Minnesota Vikings drafted 15 players, the largest draft class in the history of the 7-round NFL draft. They lost a lot of players in free agency and for salary cap reasons. They traded their number 1 wide receiver. They replaced him with that first-round pick at wide receiver and are retooling some of their positions on defense. A big draft class and a lot of hope for Minnesota to get help from their rookies.
Thank you, Mike. And guys, let's face it, the 800-pound gorilla in the room is the whole Aaron Rodgers, Jordan Love thing. And the bet here is that if Aaron is feeling any angst, and it's hard not to take it personally when you're the person, the bet here is that he takes the high road and rises above it. He'll look at it as a challenge, and history says this is a man who loves and thrives on challenges. Isn't he the guy who ran the table? So when it comes to Jordan Love, Aaron Rodgers will do what's best for the team and be the outstanding leader and mentor that he always is. Personal opinion. Anything else for the good of the whole?
Well, Larry, I don't want to speak for yourself or for even Mike over there, but what a week this has been. I mean, this has been kind of uncharted waters for the NFL, both for Packers.com and also the league as a whole. And all things considered, I think the virtual draft actually went relatively smoothly. We'll see what kind of lessons they take from that now as we hopefully go back into some normalcy next year.
All right, that's 3 guys with 3 things. See you next time.
The Jordan Love story has been a wild card in this draft, and we're all surprised that Green Bay traded up to take you. Jordan, what about you?
Oh, I'm just super excited. Yeah, it's just all excitement right now.
Would you have ever expected this?
Hey, I mean, I didn't know what to expect coming into this, so, I'm super excited. Had some good talks with coaching staff here at Green Bay, so I'm excited.
So what do you think you can learn from Aaron Rodgers?
Oh, I'm already knowing I can learn a lot from Aaron Rodgers. I mean, that's one of the GOATs right there in the game, and I'm excited to be able to come back behind him and just learn as much as I can.
Especially now, we are all so appreciative of the people on the front lines and the people who protect us. Both your parents were in law enforcement. Tonight, you fulfill your father's vision. How do you feel you've done that?
I mean, just by all the work, I put in to get here, and the work that he got me here. I mean, really. So I definitely fulfilled my father's vision.
Jordan, congratulations. You're going to the Green Bay Packers.
Thank you. Yes, I am. Thank you.
Wouldn't put it past Aaron Rodgers. I can guarantee you this. He is not thinking field goal. Gets the snap. Looking. Throws left side of the end zone. Leaping grab. Yes! Devontae Adams. Yes! A spectacular throw and catch to the left side of the end zone. Green Bay leads it 34-31.
Blitz. Rodgers steps away. In trouble. Throws as he's hit. And it is a caught. It is. Touchdown. Magic from Rodgers.
You're saying, how did he catch it? I'm saying, how did he throw it? He had Jalen Ramsey wrapped all over him. And Aaron Rodgers somehow, with Jalen Ramsey pulled him back, musters the arm strength to get that ball to the end zone. Simply remarkable. And that is what Aaron Rodgers is as a passer of the football.
Spread him out again. Rodgers has time, slings it to Nelson. Touchdown, Green Bay. Now a four-man rush. Rodgers for James Jones. Jones fought for it. Touchdown. What a catch.
Well, right now, Aaron Rodgers, only 2 incompletions on the day.
That boy A-Rod's a monster, man. He's a beast, bro.
Rodgers has time to survey the whole field, and now he'll run into the end zone. 2nd down and 6. Starks, it's faked to him. Rodgers keeps it. Kuhn fights toward the end zone for the touchdown.
You lead us, baby. We're going all the way. Let's go. Sir. Hey, we understand what's at stake. We know what it is. United.
Rodgers has to step up, and he is injured. Touchdown, but more importantly, Rodgers is down.
Oh, he hurt his calf on the run.
This does not look good.
And Aaron Rodgers will get the biggest applause of the day coming back onto the field.
See what Aaron Rodgers can get going here for the Packers. Plenty of time. Throws the middle. Goes down the 5. Reaching end zone for the lead. Touchdown. Green Bay 21, Detroit 14. Now Rodgers quickly to the line of scrimmage under center. Takes it on a quarterback sneak. He's to the end zone.
Aaron Rodgers doing it all.
Off the play fake. Passes hard for a touchdown.
Bootlegs right, under pressure from Young. Rolls the right side, goes the end zone. Touchdown!
4-man rush. Good protection. Lots of time. Wide open Jordy Nelson.
Scrambles to his right, buying time. Rainbows right side of the end zone. Jordy wide open. Touchdown! Dumps it over the right side of the screen. He's got Lacy at the 50, 45. Down the left sidelines with a combo blocking. Eddie Lacy to the end zone. Touchdown!
Blitz. And what a catch! It'll be 6 touchdowns in the first half. Rodgers in the shotgun. Here's the snap. Rush is on. Rodgers nowhere to go, and he's snowed under. And Rodgers is down. Wow, a hush over Lambeau Field. And that's about as bad a sight as any Packer fan can see.
Aaron is officially questionable with that left knee injury, but they're going to see if he can give it a go here.
One-on-one coverage.
Rodgers dancing, throwing for the end zone, and it is holding. Touchdown.
And that is some catch and some throw. And here we go.
In the pocket. Steps up. Shoots it to Devontae Adams. And Adams dives for the end zone. Touchdown.
Stepping up. Fearless, not putting any weight at all on that left leg. But it is the pressure that's forcing Aaron Rodgers to move. And that is not an Aaron Rodgers throw. If you've seen him, he doesn't throw like that. He is surviving out there. That's all he is. He's just surviving right now. Graham's been awfully quiet.
Rodgers surveying, fires. That's caught. Randall Cobb into Chicago territory. Randall Cobb inside the 20-yard line. Randall Cobb is going to score. crazy.
I don't think I'll forget this game for a long, long time. This is one heroic, special moment in the career of Aaron Rodgers.
All right, 12 seconds left. 3rd and 19. How do you want to play this?
Right now, you're looking at 25, 27 yards or so where they need to get to give themselves a chance. Rodgers spins to his left. Comes underneath, and the pass is incomplete, out of bounds. Now they say complete. With 3 seconds left, the Packers are going to have a chance to win it. That is unbelievable.
51-yard field goal attempt. Snap, placement, kick to the uprights. Hands, it is good, and the Packers are going to the NFC Championship game.
4th and 7. Take a listen to Soldier Field right now.
Well, this is it.
Blitz. Rodgers gets out. Floats it. Cobb. Touchdown, Randall Cobb.
And with Peppers nearly sacking Rodgers, he lets loose, and Cobb was wide open.
Super Bowl 45. The Pittsburgh Steelers. The Green Bay Packers.
Hey, follow my lead tonight. Who's going to be the big dog with me? Let's go. Hey, ain't no way they can stop us.
Rodgers. Jordy Nelson. Touchdown, Green Bay.
Here's the snap. Scans the secondary. Throws it over the middle. Leaping grab is made at the goal line. Is he in? Yes! It's a touchdown for Greg Jennings.
Rodgers looking left, comes to his right. Jennings. Touchdown.
There is your Super Bowl dagger. The title is back in town. So now, one last play.
Rodgers in trouble. It's going to get there. He turned 32 yesterday. Does he have a vintage moment in the end zone? It is caught for the win. Richard Rodgers with a walk-off touchdown. A game ender for the Packers.
5 seconds remaining. This is going to be similar to the Detroit situation.
He resets Starks. They are going to bring pressure again. Rodgers is going to roll away. Throws it up in the air. Says a prayer. And Jennings does he make
stop it!
Oh, please!
What a catch!
That's insane!
Oh my, that may be one of the great throws ever made. Moving to his left, falling away, and launching a perfect throw.
There's 6 seconds to go in the half. This is where Rodgers will move around here and try to throw one up for grabs.
Looking downfield, scrambles right. Now, winds up, rainbows into the end zone, and it is caught. Left side of the end zone. Randall Cobb. Touchdown, Green Bay. Hail Mary answered again.
Rodgers, great so far tonight. Now Rodgers finally has some time and is going to air it out deep downfield and at the 27-yard. Rodgers, look out. A little dump off here. That's Jamal Williams. Blitz coming. Rodgers evades it. Backhand shovel pass.
Rodgers to throw. It has all day. And wide open. He's got it. It's Devontae Adams. The backfield. Rodgers the other way for the end zone. Touchdown, Geronimo Allison. On 2nd down 6, Rodgers to throw, and does. For the game, with gutsy call throwing and completing for the first down. Broncos jump. Free play for Rodgers. He knows where to go with it. For Valdez-Scantling in the end zone. It's only a 3-man rush on Rodgers, so he's going to move around a little and throw on the run. Sideline catch. All right, thank you, Mike Pereira. Watching all the games, keeping an eye on things. Rodgers floats one. Catch made. It's going to be Danny Vitale. Rodgers floats it. Adams, what a throw, what a catch. Devontae Adams.
Perfectly thrown ball. Aaron Rodgers, there was no doubt where he was going with the...
Through some of that. Blitz, Rodgers steps into it. High throw and caught.
He knows he's going to get hit on the catch.
31 yards on 3rd and 6. End zone, touchdown. Rodgers feeling pressure again. Bradham can't bring him down. 3rd down and 7. Extra men on the rush. Rodgers finds his man. Adams 13 targets, 9 catches. Graham, touchdown. Their defense, which was so good in that department over the first 3 games. Here's one that is caught. He's back there with Rodgers right now. Rodgers throws, has Jimmy Graham. Rodgers flips it, pass is caught by Combine on the stop, but...
Well, Malik Collins, that's a pretty good move. A little athleticism by Aaron Rodgers.
One bunched up at the line of scrimmage. Rodgers keeps, steps up, and throws high and caught.
We've seen some of Trey Carson today.
Rodgers throws, sidearm, gets it out to his receiver, and there's Jones again.
Settles down, and that's what these players do. You see 24, they kind of throttle down because they're afraid to come in.
Holmes as well.
Exactly. So 1st and 20 after the holding. Pressure on Rodgers as he gets it complete. With Aaron Jones in the backfield, and he'll pass on 2nd and 1, and he'll take a shot. And Valdez-Scantling holds it in. 2nd and 1. Rodgers extending the play, looking for an option, and finding in stride Mercedes Lewis. Just moments ago earlier here. 3rd down and 5. Rodgers same side. And this time, it's in the hands of Lazard. 2nd and 7. Look at the time he has. And somehow Jimmy Graham is able to hold on to that right at the marker, as you see.
Going to stay up top on 1st down. Going to go to the end zone. Turning around, and did he make the catch? What a catch it is by Aaron Jones. Rodgers out of the backfield to Williams.
It's an incredible throw. Watch Rodgers. The pocket's tight around him. He can't step into anything. This is that force where you just jump and you fire it. All you do is jump off the ground. That's that ground force we talk about.
Wind, field is solid as Rodgers goes for something much bigger. Kumaro dives for the pylon. It's a touchdown. Exactly what the official call was on that. Gruden was upset about a hold call earlier as Rodgers launches deep. Valdez-Scantling.
Jimmy Graham's wide open across the field, but Aaron says, nope, I've done this with Jordy Nelson a million times. And when they get that coverage and this play, he's thinking home run. And what a route. Watch this. Corner. Boom. Post corner. Back over to the post, they call it.
Going to the end zone. And the ball is caught.
Blitz coming. Rodgers stepping away. Throws deep downfield, and that will be caught. Next to the left, empty backfield. Rodgers deep downfield for Jones, and he makes the catch at the 25-yard line. Skirts the side.
No play zone.
They back off. They rush only 3. Still put pressure on. Get to him, but he gets it away. They're telling him the game. Nice block. And the pass is caught.
Problems in the secondary. They've got it screwed up. They're going to have a defensive end out there.
3rd and 1. Rodgers under pressure again and just has to flip it. And it is going to be caught by Williams for the touchdown.
Aaron Rodgers just put this in the perfect spot. How do you land it there?
As you're going down.
What a throw that was.
Clear the backfield. Rodgers dancing around, buying time. Will take off for it, and he will reach it. He's got it.
3rd down and 9. Rodgers out to his right, finds his man. Play action from Rodgers, sideline. Davante Adams, what a catch!
Oh, man!
From the end zone, Adams wide open.
It should be noted you saw Brian Bulaga is in there after having leaving the game last week with an injury. Jones down the field, a diving catch is... They fake it to Jones. Great protection. Rodgers wide open in the end zone. They're coming after Rodgers. He's in trouble and he throws and it is caught by Geronimo Allison. Aaron Rodgers on 3rd down and goal to the end zone and it's a touchdown.
Down in 14. Rodgers from the end zone fires downfield and it is caught by Jones.
Rodgers, 4-man rush, gonna float it down the seam. Adams has it, and he's in. On 3rd down, 4-man rush. He's got time again. He's got Kumaro wide open, and then he makes a move. Jake Kumaro down to the 25, still going. Kumaro all the way down inside the 15. There's down by 14. Rodgers going deep. He's got Adams open, and he hits it in stride. The officials is Rodgers. Looking downfield, now pressure comes and fires. It is caught by 4-man rush. Rodgers going for the end zone. He's got Adams and he's got it for the touchdown. Elvin this time. Rodgers. Pressure going deep down the middle. It's caught for the touchdown.
3rd down and 7. Rodgers backs up, throws. Adams, touchdown. Rodgers down the middle. Jimmy Graham for the 1st down to the 45. 3rd down and 8. Pass to Adams. What a throw and catch. Crowd jumps back into it. Rodgers backpedaling as he throws. What a throw and a catch. Pass to Graham. Wide open. Jimmy Graham is in for the touchdown. Against Seattle. And what they did on 3rd down. Rodgers going to air it out. Davante Adams downfield. He's got it. And there's a big chunk down inside the 25. Rodgers throws, pass, caught, touchdown. It's the rookie Sternberger. And the Packers climbing back into this game with 8:13 left.
Rodgers blocked up, going far side of the field, and he's got a completion. It's St. Brown again. On 3rd down. Rodgers stands in, floats one. Adams with a heck of a catch. Davante Adams with Alford all over him. Rodgers looking far side, going far side. Adams, did he get in? Touchdown!
You don't step into the end zone with a receiver in front of you. You make him bypass you and throw it over the top because he runs out of space in the back of the end zone. Any catch in front of you like that?
I think he feels like everyone needs to kind of wake up and do some things differently.
He said this team is underachieved this year.
Rodgers in pressure. Now looking to run, going to run. 1st down, sliding down.
They are not that far off from still being a contender.
Rodgers going deep. He's got Adams with a nice play. Davante Adams had a step. Rodgers put it right where he wanted to put it.
Struggles. They see that in the scouting report. They see him if they're in press coverage, and they go immediately to their #1 receiver, Davante Adams. Risk averse sometimes leads to bigger plays later.
3rd and 6. Blitz coming. Rodgers in trouble again. His hand is held. Trying to get away. Flag, fly. Rodgers running. 1st down and more. Down near midfield.
They're deferring on the coin toss.
So big sequence here on 2nd down. Rodgers has all day. Looking, now running, throwing on the run. He's got a completion and a 1st down. It is Adams who's got the catch. 4-man rush this time. Rodgers rolling, looking, just going to run a lot of room. Rodgers inside the 30, gets decked as he slides to the ground right around the 1st down. Now a scuffle's going to break out, protecting their quarterback.
And really There should not be a scuffle on it, but I understand why emotions get high.
3rd and 10. Blitz again from Atlanta. Rodgers stands in, throwing, going end zone. It's a touchdown. Randall Cobb.
Than he is against the pass, especially when Aaron Rodgers is dropping this dime right over his shoulder.
3rd down and 14. Come with a 3-man rush this time. Rodgers stands in, and he's got a first down. Beauty to Davante Adams.
Hear him able to step up and make the throw with anticipation. Excellent hands catch by Davante Adams. Alford almost knocks it free.
4-man rush. Rodgers hangs in near side. It's complete for a first down to Jimmy Graham.
And so now this offense, which has been putting up yards and points in the postseason under the controls of Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers, Jordy Nelson, touchdown, Green Bay.
You get one-on-one on the outside against William Gay, and you see the hand check right there. Just a perfectly thrown ball by Aaron Rodgers. Puts it right where it needed to be.
That came on 3rd and 1. And a 9-play, 80-yard drive ends in a 29-yarder to Jordy Nelson. Approaching the 2-minute warning here in Arlington, over the middle. Caught. Touchdown. Greg Jennings.
Put Greg Jennings in the slot. He's here. And then look at Ferrier. He's the guy who has to carry that up the seam. Greg Jennings just goes right by him, but a perfectly thrown ball because Aaron Rodgers has to beat the safeties in with the pass.
Green Bay has been able to do, take it away from the Steelers. On 3rd down, the pass is low and caught by James Jones.
We'll take a look here and see if he was able to secure the catch. And sure enough, he gets his arms underneath that one.
Blitz coming off the edge. Packers pick it up. There's Nelson. First down. Inside the 20. Gets a block. Polamalu knocks him out of bounds near the 1. Rodgers looking left. Comes to his right. Jennings. Touchdown.
Just when you say they haven't really gotten Greg Jennings involved, he lines up in the slot. You saw Troy Polamalu. He's expecting that seam route again because that's where he got beat last time. He's expecting the seam route, and Greg Jennings runs an excellent route, gets him to bite, goes to the corner.
It's back to an 11-point game. That's the 3rd time in this game the Packers have turned a turnover into 7. Jennings gets this one, his 2nd of the game. 3rd down and 10. Rodgers over the middle. What a throw, Jennings. And a huge completion on 3rd and 10. 31 yards from Aaron Rodgers.
This is that seam route again. He scored the touchdown on it in the first half. I go back to it. Mike Tomlin was so certain that they were going to try to make this throw to Greg Jennings in the slot.
Tonight's Cam sponsored by Budweiser, an up-close and personal look. The final snap of Super Bowl 45. The Green Bay Packers have won the Super Bowl. The Lombardi Trophy is coming home. Master of the play clock just got it away, and Rodgers out to his right. Nelson, catch is made. Out across the 30 and close to a first down.
5-4's Mike. Ready, touch.
On 2nd down, play action. Rodgers wide open. Cobb. The catch to the sideline and a first down. And a flag for a hit after the play. 2. Rodgers, wide open, first down, Cobb. Randall Cobb inside the 35.
319! 319!
Adams gets in on the fun, makes a move, and has a first down. Out to the 25 as he went around Shaq Griffin.
Quickness and burst, and he showed it on that route.
Ready, cut!
Rodgers, Adams again, near sideline, first down.
Some things, they were very porous a year ago, but they have been excellent.
3rd down and 11 over the middle. What a throw and what a catch. It's Martellus Bennett.
And when it comes to some of the lower extremity injuries.
3rd down and 16. Rodgers with all day finds a man wide open, Devontae Adams, and a first down at the 45.
Did in last year's opener when he came down with his injury.
3rd down and 11. Pressure off the edge. Here goes Rodgers trying to outrun for a first down, and he does. You do that right now and donate $10.
They're trying to get him with 12 men on the field.
And they may have into the end zone. Touchdown! Jordy Nelson. Flags are down. But the Packers hurried it up, and Jordy Nelson finds the end zone.
Well, immediately, Aaron Rodgers recognizes that Seattle's trying to substitute. He picked up the pace, got him to the line. It's a one-word thing that he says, and they get up to the line, snap the ball, catch him with 12.
Win. 319! 319!
Rodgers steps up. Finds Montgomery out of the backfield, breaks a tackle. And a flag, looked like a face mask on the stop by Earl Thomas on the far sideline after he went around Justin Coleman.
Got some upside.
319! 319!
That's him in motion, 3rd down and 4. Quick throw, pass is caught by Jordy Nelson. And another first down in this one possession game. 3rd down and 4.
319! 319!
Pump fake. Rodgers steps through. First down. And now a flag on Martellus Bennett.
Throw the ball, but they got a good look right up here up top.
There you go. Underneath. First down Bennett. Martellus Bennett stays in bounds. Inside the 25. 2nd and 6. Time for Rodgers. There's Nelson. Welcome back. Jordy Nelson out of bounds inside the 45.
Well, the Packers are expecting to start this game with man coverage from the Falcons, and that's what they draw here on 2nd down. Jordy Nelson runs the corner route. He shakes free. An excellent job by him.
First down. Rodgers. Pass to Nelson again. Rodgers gets rid of it, avoids the sack. But it's 4th down. Deion Jones, the rookie middle linebacker, got through. Rodgers throws, has a man, and a first down. That's Cobb.
Rodgers with enough protection in the pocket, hangs in. Cobb slicing through the middle of that defense. Falcons playing zone coverage there, and Rodgers gets a nice gain.
Rodgers out to his right, deadly outside the pocket. Throws back across the field for Cobb. Quick throw, pass caught, first down, Jared Cook. Rodgers, diving catch by Jordy Nelson. Pass to Cobb is low and short. It's 4th down.
Yeah, you see Brian Poole, he comes off the slot and puts the hit on Aaron Rodgers, and that's why the throw was low, and Rodgers, he was hoping to see a flag.
And then a punt. But they've been able to move the ball at times. Rodgers throws, pass caught, and Rodgers got crunched at the end of that play. Just got it away. Rodgers is sacked. Down he goes. 4 men on the pass rush. Rodgers out to his right. Gonna air it out. Looking for Nelson. He's not there. Ricardo Allen is. And he's going to be down at the 31.
And Rodgers does what he should do and just takes a shot, but there was no chance whatsoever. Ricardo Allen, he's playing deep middle, and Jordy Nelson, he was playing defense as soon as that ball was thrown, and that's essentially a punt game, and they still won it all.
Incredible. Rodgers has Cook, and Cook slides with a first down inside the 10. Rodgers pass to Adams for the touchdown.
It's just a matter of Rodgers putting it on him. So the first points are the hardest ones to get, and the Packers finally get on the board.
Rodgers out of the shotgun, protected, and now he'll take off. He's got a lot of room to run. He's still going. And Aaron Rodgers, who ran for a season-high 60 yards in that Week 8 matchup here in Atlanta, gets 28. Where do you go? Cobb picked up a first down. Pass is caught by Nelson for the touchdown.
And we saw Davante Adams earlier. The touchdown that he got was on the slant route. Robert Alford, he slips as Nelson starts him to the outside and comes underneath. And initially I thought it might have been the shoulder pad.
Rodgers is trying to get a first down. Fires a fastball for the first down to Cobb.
Of Aaron Rodgers outside the pocket. But he was able to buy some time. We've seen so many times.
Second and goal. Pass is caught for the touchdown, Jared Cook.
Well, he draws the rookie, Keanu Neal, and Rodgers throws the ball and makes Cook go get it. Able to come away with a touchdown on this drive. They'll go for two, the onside kick, and see what might happen.
15-yard carry, quick setup and throw, and the pass is caught by Cobb. Randall Cobb down near the 35. Flags, free play. Rodgers, touchdown! Flags are down on the field. Sean Lee was back in. Third down and 7. Rodgers flushed out. That's the way he likes it. What a throw to Cook. Rodgers sits back. Over the middle, pass is caught. And that's the rookie Allison. Pass for Adams. He's there and hitting stride. First down inside the 20. Packers drove 90 yards for a touchdown last time they had it. Pass is caught by Cook. Second down and 9. Pass to Allison. He's there to grab it for a first down. Give them a first down in this first half. Both came on third down. Here's Rodgers out to his right. Pass is caught by Allison. And the rookie is good inside the 35. From the 11. Quick setup and throw. Davante Adams down the sideline. On first down. Rodgers skips out of trouble. And throws it away. Gets hit on the play and completes it to Cobb. What a throw by Aaron Rodgers. Rodgers had to pull it down. Now he goes for Cook. Inside the 5. From the 3. Play action. Rodgers to his right. Wide open. Touchdown. And it's Cook who got him down there. Low snap. Rodgers over the middle. Pass caught. Montgomery first down. Rodgers steps through trouble. Will pull it down and reach. Rodgers tripped a bit. Now throws and the pass is caught. Sliding grab by Jared Cook. Pass is caught. Davante Adams out across the 40. Play action. Rodgers will run for the first down. Just get it away on second and 10. A screen. Montgomery. Room to run. Ty Montgomery forced out by Heath. Rodgers spins to his left. Comes underneath and the pass is incomplete, out of bounds. Now they say complete. The official, the second one came in and overruled the other, Jared Cook, and with 3 seconds left.
How good are the last 7 games for Aaron Rodgers? Well, it's been pretty amazing. I mean, you look at the 18 touchdowns. He was throwing a lot of touchdown passes through the first 8 or 9 ball games of the year as well.
Giants have 3 terrific cover corners. They're down to 2 at the moment. Rodgers, protection. To the sideline for Jordy Nelson. And there's just no way to cover these receivers for that long. And Nelson is left alone for 13 yards. After that sack by Peppers, they go for Adams. Hit in stride. Rodgers scanning. Time running out again. What a play. Adams. Touchdown. In allowing Rodgers to navigate everybody else, you just can't do it. As good as his coverage is, you allow him to sit back there, eventually he's going to find someone open. Giants looking for a stop. They're going to air it out. Rodgers does this better than anybody. End zone, Cobb, touchdown! Unbelievable! Who does that better than Aaron Rodgers? Looks like Rodgers is getting a hot hand. There's Cobb. There's a touchdown. Green Bay. Aaron Rodgers came into this game having gone 245 straight pass attempts with no interceptions. That's the longest streak of his career. Now he's attempted 29 in this game. Third down and 11. Good protection. And down the middle of the field, it's Ty Montgomery. Rodgers, end zone. Touchdown, Cobb. And the protection up front for Aaron Rodgers. This offensive line has been so good. Packers win. 38-13, and the winning streak has hit 7.
Who flat out missed.
From the 43, off the play fake, fires over the middle again, goes to the tight end, Cook again.
I'll take care of the rest.
2nd and 5. Now the pass is caught on the outside by Richard Rodgers, and down the sideline he goes. He would have to win 3 road games to get to the Super Bowl. And Rodgers fires downfield, and open and making the catch and getting out of bounds is Geronimo Allison. 2nd and 11. Rodgers fires wide open is Nelson. Play action, pass caught, and it's Nelson taking the ball to the 2-yard line. There you go. Aaron glanced up at the play clock. It's a 2. He's going to roll to his right. Fire, caught, touchdown. Davante Adams.
And maybe slowing him down a little bit too.
Malaga's back in. There's the play fake to Christian Michael. Rodgers is going to take off again, and Aaron Rodgers has a first down. He makes it look easy. Davante Adams was in the backfield. Pass is hauled in. Lions rush 4. There goes Rodgers again. Looking to the outside again. Throwing, and it is caught for a touchdown.
This is what's so difficult to defend, whether you're in man coverage, which they are here, plenty of time. He's scrambling around, buying time, and eventually one of these wide receivers uncover. They practice this all the time.
And Rodgers is going to take it himself. He does everything. First down. Lions dancing around, showing blitz. Here they come. Here's the pass. It's Adams in the corner of the end zone. Touchdown. And a 2-point attempt. Pass caught, and it is good.
Here's Aaron Rodgers starting with the football, and it's been an incredible stretch for Aaron Rodgers. Boy, he has run the ball very well. 2nd down and 5. Rodgers protected, and there's Jordy Nelson. Nelson is like a different guy compared to early in the season. Out of the backfield, Montgomery. But Aaron Rodgers is red hot. 2nd time he's had it. Throws. Davante Adams. They fake it to Montgomery. Wide open for the catch. Geronimo Allison. Play clock almost expired. Pass caught. Nelson. Jordy Nelson. Touchdown.
Well, the Vikings, they come up and they show blitz that they're going to bring linebackers. Give me this.
Davante Adams started this play in the backfield, and Rodgers finds Jordy Nelson, who was left alone, and he's down inside the 30. Good protection. Adams, touchdown, what a throw. Just a beautiful throw.
Well, it's outstanding work because they go one-on-one on the outside, and Rodgers liked the matchup right from the snap. He meant it, and then to have something like that offensively happen.
Rodgers, Nelson to the 15, to the 10.
Last 2 weeks he's been able to be the Aaron Rodgers we know.
Protected again. Steps up. Throws. Touchdown. Nelson again.
And I think Aaron Rodgers and what he does as a quarterback, this is really what I envision. He steps up when he feels the outside pressure, and then once he steps up, he always slides then out.
2nd and 7, and there's Jordy Nelson again. Here he is after being relatively ineffective for the last 5 games. He's been effective. Wide open. Pass caught Allison. 2nd and 8. Rodgers. Nelson. Rodgers spins out. A ton of room in front of him. A move and a touchdown.
Griffin is unblocked. If there was a bust up front or Rodgers just didn't anticipate it, but they had a free rusher with Griffin, and then again he shows what he's able to do.
Third down and 10. Pass. Allison, what a catch. Rodgers stays upright, gets the first down to Allison.
And then there's pressure by Barr right up the gut. And
1st and 20 now after the hold, and this one is floated downfield and caught by Jared Cook.
Go to him here.
Pass is caught for the touchdown, Richard Rodgers. A flag at the end of the play.
He puts it right on him. That's a really good job by Rodgers.
Personal foul. Number 34 in the defense. Hit to the helmet of the receiver after he scored.
What a day for Aaron Rodgers. 28 of 38, 347 yards, 4 touchdowns. Rodgers out to his right downfield. He's got Adams. Adams. Welcome to Week 14. Touchdown, Green Bay.
See Rodgers in the pocket. He feels a little pressure inside. He slides to his right, and that's when he finds Davante Adams up that right sidelines. And you see the job that he's able to do against Jeremy Lane. And Davante Adams, in visiting with Aaron Rodgers yesterday, boy, he really likes this young guy and what he's been able to do this year. Healthier from where he was a year ago. And in the last 3 to 4 ball games, Joe, he has really come up big.
2nd and 3, Montgomery right side now. He's got a first down and more. Out of bounds, forced out by Stephen Terrell. And Terrell against the start for the injured and IR'd Earl Thomas there after a 17-yard run.
You're going to see the center, Corey Lindsley. He's able to hook around, and he gets a key block, and then the kick out by T.J. Lang. I know they're happy to have him back.
3rd down and 6. Wide open for the first down is Montgomery. And the Seahawks have no answers yet. A gain of 24 to set up 1st and goal.
Well, Michael Bennett, who's making his 2nd start after missing 5 games, they've been able to neutralize him a little bit. And then they got Ty Montgomery out of the backfield. It looked like A.J. Wright maybe got tied up inside and not able to get out in coverage, but that's as a receiver background and being able to utilize him in the backfield. That's
low snap. Rodgers time. Touchdown, Nelson. This is starting to look like the old Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, it is. They split Ty Montgomery out wide, and that's initially where Aaron Rodgers is wanting to go, but he's covered up. Rodgers has time in the pocket, but K.J. Wright, once again in the middle, looked like he gets kind of caught up, and he's not able to then stick with Jordy Nelson in the zone coverage across the middle, and it opens up the throwing lanes for Rodgers, and this is uncharted waters for this Seattle defense. The way that Green Bay's been able to punch this ball into the end zone.
Seattle needs a stop. Here's one floated downfield for Adams. What a throw. And Rodgers limps up the field. That was a beautiful throw.
Well, it was, but look at the route. When you see Devontae Adams, he slow plays to Shed. Coming up.
Injured a bit earlier, and now he's back. All this was going on, and Aaron Rodgers.
Just business as usual.
First and goal. Rodgers, end zone, pass. Caught for the touchdown, Jordy Nelson. His second of the day.
Well, initially they're trying to get the ball to Richard Rodgers, and there was some confusion down there at the bottom as Rodgers collides there inside with Jordy Nelson, and so Aaron Rodgers just keeping the play alive. You see him start to his left, he steps up in the pocket, and no inside pressure whatsoever allows Jordy Nelson to free himself up, works back towards the pylon, knowing his quarterback is looking for him. It's all a product of great protection up front by that offensive line.
What a catch by Nelson. The Green Bay Packers took over after fourth down incompletion at the Seattle 39-yard line. But this is the day for Aaron Rodgers. And he's been limping around, and it's gotten worse as we've gone forward in this game. He's obviously been bothered by the bad left hamstring, but I think you're right in looking at that, determining that it's something on the right side for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, and I know when in visiting with him yesterday and asking him specifically about the hamstring, he said that he was good to go, and he didn't say much anyway when it comes to injuries, but he acted like the hamstring was not an issue whatsoever.
Rodgers swings it, and it is caught. It is caught by Cook near the 10-yard line. Nelson lined up to the left, and 2nd and 6. And Rodgers buying time, throws, and it is caught for the touchdown. Randall Cobb with the catch.
Originally, he's going to throw the football to the top of the screen, and Adams was open, but it was a little close. He says, nope, I'll just wait and move outside the pocket and see if somebody can uncover. Get those extra yards.
2nd down in Houston territory. Rodgers dancing. Tucks it under. Got the first. 2nd down. Now, wide open for the touchdown. It's Jordy Nelson. A 98-yard drive.
Boy, good movement in the pocket as usual. And Charles James on the slot. Goes down the field, he slips and falls, and Jordy Nelson wide open, uncovered for the touchdown. Excellent pass protection almost every game when you watch Green Bay.
2nd and 7. It's Nelson makes the catch and is able to duck under. They need 6 for the first. Rodgers floats it. Pass is caught. It's Nelson. He battled.
Aaron
Rodgers, pinpoint accuracy.
Rodgers over the top, lofts the right side, hands over the shoulder, to the pylon, touchdown!
Rodgers in trouble.
Being flushed, rolling left, winds up.
There's not 5 guys on the planet who play like him.
He's got it! He's caught for a touchdown!
Yes!
A miracle
Yes!
catch!
Can you believe it?
Third down, a yard. Rodgers, here he goes again. He's rushed for 18 first downs this year to lead their team. Nice move by Randall Cobb after the catch, and he has a first down. To the left goes Rodgers. Across the line of scrimmage, across the first down marker goes Rodgers for Green Bay. Rodgers, the quick pop for a touchdown to Davante Adams.
You wanted a quick start, you got it. Just a slant route, a vintage Green Bay Packers slant route. And Davante Adams continues to show his progress. He beats Leotis McKelvin bad at the line of scrimmage.
With the difficulties they're having on defense, that's the loss of a key player to the end zone, and a catch made in traffic. Davante Adams, his second touchdown of the game.
On the opening possession to Cook, he drops a ball in here to Davante Adams. That's amazing.
Ooh.
How did Adams catch that ball?
And how did Nolan Carroll miss it? He just didn't see the ball. He was turning toward it but couldn't find it. On first down, Aaron Rodgers after the play fake, throwing deep and looking for Adams, who makes the over-the-shoulder catch. He's had a big night. He beat Leotis McKelvin. Eagles would like to force a field goal attempt, keep it a one-score game. Rodgers throws wide open. Another big catch by Adams, breaks a tackle from Nolan Carroll and weaves down to the 3-yard line. Packers are 9 for 11. This is 3rd and 12. Eagles in desperate need of a stop. Rodgers, another extended play and a first down. Yes, sir. 4th and 5, they're going for it. Down the sideline, another push off by Jordy Nelson. There's no flag. He got away with one, it looked like, from here with Jalen Mills in coverage. They rule it a catch.
And try to keep the drive going. Rodgers looking for Nelson to get away from Trent Murphy, and he'll run for the first down. And because he slid forward, he gets all that slide yardage, and he was untouched. So he keeps going, but they rule that he gave himself up at Tennessee. 3rd and goal. Again, the pressure. Rodgers eludes the rush, throws on the run, and Nelson can't hang on. Oh, they say touchdown.
Came on the slot blitz. Oof. There's the grabbing of the face mask, almost pulled it off, and somehow Aaron Rodgers got that front leg back on the ground and found Jordy Nelson. A remarkable play. Remarkable play by Aaron Rodgers. Here's the catch, tucked away. Because he wasn't going to the ground, I guess the period of time is much shorter there.
Coming in after being let go in Seattle because C.J. Prosise has come along so well. They'll have him next week. 3rd and 3, Rodgers pass complete. On the run, it's Cobb for the first down. So get somebody in there who can play the run and cover as well. 1st and 20 for Rodgers. Again, he's the best at this, extending the play, and he's got a ton of room to run inside the 10. He'll throttle it down just around the 5-yard line. The rookie 2nd-round pick out of Indiana is playing guard. 3rd and 3 up top. It is Cook, Jared Cook, across midfield. The drive with the half of the Packers. We're halfway through the quarter as Rodgers retreats and floats one up top. It's pulled down by Randall Cobb. In terms of punting into the wind, this will be an important first down to Green Bay to pick up. Get rid of the end of the quarter. Rodgers retreats, puts it up top for Cook, and he's able to bring it in.
Aaron Rodgers put that ball up. I mean, it was probably about right here. The ball was, he just floated it way up in the air. Looked like one of those Hail Marys of his. And as soon as Cook turned around, it just hit him right in the chest.
James Starks is the back. Isn't done much back there. 7 carries, 19 yards. Fake to him. Oops. Get it wide open. There is nobody there, and Starks will walk in for the touchdown. 3rd and 12. Washington going to bring a blitz, and Cobb gets the first down, and the missed tackle keeps Randall Cobb going. Foot race now. Cobb into Washington territory. Help lead to this 1st and goal. Rodgers gets pressured, throws it inside to Cook, who holds on for the touchdown. First look not open. Rodgers crossing his Davante Adams at the 35. Chased down. Good job by Adams staying in bounds. Almost turned it upfield. But he's in Washington territory very quickly at the 46-yard line.
They keep you guessing. They keep you off guard.
Here, the fake handoff to Don Jackson. Play action. Rodgers has Richard Rodgers. Fake to Jackson. Rodgers able to get away from Perry. And now able to scramble for the first down for 26 total yards. But it's been Don Jackson the rest of the time. Flag. Colts look to a jump. Rodgers to the end zone. And it is caught as Nelson is able to out-battle Butler for the football. 2nd and 8. Quick pass, and it's there. That's Janis. Green Bay offense. Wide open. It's Adams. Going to cut back inside the 20 and down to the 13. Looking to Adams, and it is caught by Adams for the touchdown.
The last 5 minutes and 28 seconds.
First down, he flips it to Montgomery, waiting for a blocker. Look at him, push aside a couple of tacklers. First down. That's a catch by Richard Rodgers.
You want one of your pass rushers just once, make a play. You know it's going to be a pass every down.
That's Rodgers slipping away from him, and he's got open field. He's got all kinds of room to the 16.
Well, everybody is playing man coverage, chasing receivers around the field. Nobody looking at the quarterback, Aaron Rodgers.
21-yard scramble. Quickly to Nelson. Sidesteps, one hit, and is out of bounds near the 3. Montgomery, the running back. Rodgers looking for options. Flings it, got it. It's caught by Cobb.
Is Cobb gonna fake like he's blocking? It's going to be a screen, and he just goes around to the back of the end zone. They were trying to go to the right. It's not there, and he waits. And what an adjustment by Randall Cobb. And how about that tight throw? Right down the middle. That's can't do it better than that.
Ready, go.
Good protection. And down the middle of the field, and there's Jordy Nelson. He's inside the 20 and run out of bounds inside the 10.
He starts on the left side, but he runs a deep crossing route to the opposite flag. And this is a defense that has given up a lot of big plays in the passing game in their zone schemes. You see Keanu Neal.
Well, they have Davante Adams in the backfield right now. Rodgers looked at him initially and throws into the end zone, and that is a touchdown for Jordy Nelson.
And why they've had some of the holes that they've had.
Adams inside the 30. On a 90-yard interception return in front of friends and family. 3rd and goal, and Rodgers throws to the end zone, and that is a touchdown.
Credit Aaron Rodgers for keeping the play alive. He's able to move up in the pocket and then slide.
Ready, go.
Rodgers asking Davis to come back and get it, and that is a touchdown. And he ends it with his first career touchdown.
Well, this is what we got used to seeing from Aaron Rodgers. That ball's perfectly placed.
Ready.
Rodgers going to run it. He's got a lot of room. And he's up to the 50-yard line.
Ready, go.
Cross the middle, and it's juggled and then hanging on is Nelson. They'll call a timeout.
I don't think so. I think he just kind of got up on Jordy Nelson, but he sticks with it. Great concentration, being able to haul it in.
It's a big 3rd down. Rodgers may run it. He will, and it's a first down to the 24-yard line. Flag down, the touchdown catch in the back of the end zone by Janis.
Holding number 37 defense. That penalty is declined. The result of the play is a touchdown.
He throws another dart. Jordy just beats his man to, or excuse me, Janis.
4 touchdown passes today. And he's going to run this one in and convert the 2-point conversion. And waiting on those Lions, Aaron Rodgers and the pack. And speaking of hurry, they're in hurry-up mode. They actually plant it right at the 50-yard line, so it's a gain of 5 on first down. Play fake to Lacy. Rodgers so good at scrambling. Randall Cobb inside the 20, a first down to the 17-yard line. It's coming again. Rodgers throws, and it is a touchdown, Davante Adams. What a start for the Green Bay offense. We're having a few technical difficulties, so just this. A lot of people working very hard to get it straightened out, and this is Jordy Nelson. Nothing wrong with him. All the way back from that ACL tear a season ago. All right, third down now. They can get a first down at the 1. And Rodgers running room, but he throws it. And a touchdown to Jordy Nelson. Lawson beaten on the 30-yard touchdown by Delaney Walker last week. Also had a big pass interference call. Penalty flag down. Catch made. Richard Rodgers into the end zone, a touchdown. That was Jared Cook in the end zone. Blitz coming. Packers pick it up. And Nelson to the end zone, and that is a touchdown, the 4th of the game, thrown by Aaron Rodgers. They play on a third down and 10. And again, Rodgers eludes trouble. He'll get a first down and then some, as he will step out of bounds inside the 15-yard line. First down, Green Bay. They need to get to the 35-yard line. And Rodgers to throw it. Good protection. And now he's in trouble. Still on his feet. Lots of running room in front. Rodgers will pick up the first down to the 38-yard line. The Green Bay Packers go to 2-1. They win their home opener.
And so Aaron Rodgers in his 12th season, 2nd and 5. Rodgers, a lot of time. Trotting right now, he's going to run it, heading for the end zone. Touchdown, Green Bay.
The defense doesn't commit. He says, "Fine, I'll take that pylon and get in there for a touchdown." And Aaron Rodgers putting the Packers up with the early lead.
From the 6. Rodgers thought about running, steps back, firing over the middle, caught. Blitz. Rodgers steps away, in trouble, throws as he's hit, and it isn't caught. It is touchdown.
He's going to get there and have Aaron Rodgers in his arms, and Aaron Rodgers somehow, with Jalen Ramsey pulling him back, musters the arm strength to get that ball to the end zone. Simply remarkable, and that is what Aaron Rodgers is.
Play clock at 2. Blitz. Rodgers still has time, steps away, throws on the run, wide open, and did he catch it?
You're back there counting Mississippi. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi. It's hard to cover that long.
3rd and 9. Blitz coming. It's blocked up. Rodgers throws a little fade. What a grab.
He's practicing great from every indication. He is arguably the best quarterback in the league right now.
And that stacked slot left. Rodgers throws the cross, and he's got Jared Cook.
With Ray Armstrong right there just inside the hash mark.
Rodgers sets one up to Cobb. Nice cutback and back deep. And Rodgers finds Cobb. Chris Davis went down. Why does it feel like 18? Nice little move inside, and Randall Cobb will take that in for the Green Bay touchdown. That's the nice move.
Yeah, it's
Keith Reeser there hoping, but too late by then.